Join me as I dive deep into my own habits to see if I'm accidentally pushing people away, and I'll challenge myself to change that. Have you ever caught yourself wondering why people seem to be keeping their distance from you, or why relationships in your life aren't quite flourishing the way you want them to? It's a frustrating and often confusing feeling, but today, we're going to explore a crucial concept that might just hold the key to understanding what's going on, pushing people away without even realizing it. And trust me, it's more common than you think. Understanding this phenomenon is essential for personal growth and building healthier, more meaningful relationships. So, let's dive in. We've all heard the saying, communication is key, but what if I told you that sometimes, it's not what we say, but rather how we say it that can lead to misunderstandings and distance in our relationships? There are certain behaviors and communication styles that can inadvertently push people away, and the scariest part is that many of us are completely unaware of the impact we're having. We might be using a tone that comes across as condescending, or we might be dominating conversations, leaving others feeling unheard or dismissed. For example, have you ever found yourself interrupting someone mid-sentence, not even realizing you're doing it? Or maybe you've been so focused on crafting your response that you haven't actually listened to what the other person is saying. These little habits can add up over time, making others feel unimportant or unvalued. And before we know it, they start to pull away, leaving us wondering what went wrong. The truth is, many of us are guilty of these behaviors, and it's not because we're bad people or that we don't care about others. It's often simply a result of our own insecurities, fears, or past experiences that have shaped the way we interact with others. But the good news is that by becoming more self-aware, we can start to identify these patterns and make positive changes. There are so many subtle ways we can push people away without realizing it. We might be masters of deflection, always changing the subject when conversations get too deep or personal. Or maybe we have a tendency to put others down, not even realizing we're doing it, just to make ourselves feel better. The list goes on, and it's only by taking a closer look at our own behaviors that we can start to understand why people might be keeping their distance. Let's take, for instance, the fear of vulnerability. We might be so scared to open up and show our true selves that we come across as aloof or standoffish, unintentionally pushing others away. Or maybe we're stuck in a cycle of negative self-talk, which can make others uncomfortable or even feel sorry for us. It's amazing how many ways we can unintentionally drive people away, simply because we're not aware of the signals we're sending. I remember this one specific conversation I had with a friend, where I realized I was doing exactly that. I was talking about my own struggles, but instead of being open and honest, I was making a joke out of it, laughing it off like it was no big deal. My friend called me out on it, saying, "Hey, you're always doing that. You're always making light of things, but it feels like you're pushing me away." It was a huge wake-up call for me, and it made me realize that I was doing it in so many other areas of my life. That moment of realization was incredibly powerful, and it's something I think many of us can relate to. When we finally see ourselves from the outside, we start to understand the impact we're having on others. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also incredibly liberating, because once we're aware of these behaviors, we can start to make changes. So, let's recap. Today, we've talked about the subtle ways we can push people away without even realizing it. We've explored common behaviors and communication styles that can lead to misunderstandings and distance in our relationships. And we've looked at specific examples of how these behaviors can manifest in our everyday interactions. Remember, self-awareness is key here. By becoming more mindful of our own behaviors, we can start to build stronger, more meaningful relationships. If you're willing, take a moment to reflect on your own behaviors. Have you ever caught yourself pushing people away without realizing it? Share your experiences in the comments below, and if you're looking for more tips on improving your communication skills, be sure to check out my next video. Thanks for joining me on this journey of self-discovery. Subscribe for more videos like this.